FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. Today we are doing a fish room tour and we will be showing you some of the foods that we feed our fish. The first thing we'll start out with is Zoo-Med Cano Shrimp. We feed these to our wild bettas, like Betta antuta and Betta unimaculata. They're small shrimps, freshwater shrimps that you feed to your fish. If you want to give them smaller shrimp, there is a lot of small shrimp in there, so you can feed them depending on their size. Like we can feed the chanoids small ones, and we can give the antuta the big ones.
Yeah, and a lot of the wild betta fish that we keep, actually all the wild betta fish that we keep, really do like freshwater shrimps in their diet. It's a major part of their diet beside insects in the wild. So I felt when I saw this on the shelf that this could not hurt, and I gotta tell you, it turned out to be a pretty nice option. These fish go for anything that I feed them now, but for the most part, they also love to see something new. So they all seem to take it really quick and take it with gusto. So Cano Shrimp from Zoo-Med, definitely worth the purchase. I don't know how long it lasts when you refrigerate it. I'll probably post an update video at some point, but I think it lasts for at least a week or so. All right.
Next, we will show you the omega-1 freeze-dried tubifex worms. This is one of our favorite foods to feed the fish because every fish that we have will absolutely love them. No matter if it's Betta hendra, fry, all of our fry eat this.
Even the Betta antuta fry, which have actually been growing out really well on the second feeding of tubifex cubes. This is the one food I love to actually give these guys because I break a cube in half, press it up on the glass, and I allow them to feed at their will, and they're able to actually graze on this for a good 10-15 minutes at a time. Everybody gets a nice full belly, and the food is actually pretty good and nutritious in its own right. The freeze drying process doesn't really remove a lot of nutrients. So freeze drying tubifex worms still probably has the amount of crude fats and proteins it should have normally. Just doesn't have all the pathogens that you would typically have with live or fresh tubifex worms. Give me another food, Nate. What are you gonna go with?
Next one is tetracolor. This is another one of the stuff that we feed to simple things like Betta splendens and occasionally tetras.
Yeah, now this is our basic flake. So I don't use tetracolor for any reason other than if I'm going to use a flake, I figured I'd give it a shot. And as a basic flake, I probably only feed flake food maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Everybody who I give it to, including my Betta forshi, seem to really enjoy it. The fish that do not touch it are the unimaculata, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's pretty small. I will say that all the unimaculata fry, whether it's patoti, unimaculata, or the palafina, they all do take the tetracolor flake. The fry love it. They love anything at the surface. What's the next food, Nate?
The next food is discus color blue.
From Sarah.
They look like these.
Little tiny granulars. So this is another one of those foods I wanted to try. I know Sarah, or Sira, as it's pronounced, is a very well reputable German-based company. I do love using some of the original European companies out there. I know that when you go to the UK and you go to Germany and maybe even in other parts of Europe, I know for the most part, Sira is a very, very popular name brand, respected and trusted.
Okay, the next one is Northfin.
This is my favorite pellet to feed my wild betta fish, and even my tetras. They love it.
Yeah, this food is absolutely amazing.
So this is the 1 millimeter size.
It's meant for cichlids, but we feed it to our bettas anyway.
Yes, this is the 1 millimeter size, and as you can tell, like Nate showed you, it's actually pretty small. I hope you can actually see that.
Yeah, they're like the discus color blue.
Yeah. Very good food. Base product in the Northfin cichlid pellet is krill, and krill is a fantastic protein source. Also, krill is fantastic for increasing some of the reds in your fish. Very, very important food.
Alright, the next is Paradigm Carnivore. This is one of our best foods that we've fed our fish. We've showed you this in past videos, but we just want to show you again because this is a very good food.
Now, as far as all the foods I actually use, Paradigm is probably one of the, if not the priciest food I use. But in regards to dry food, it's very, very, very good. Ingredients are clean, based, no fillers. You know, the only thing about Paradigm I will tell you is that if you do not have enough of a cleanup, you know what, Nate, put that inside the 33, what's in your hand.
Okay.
If you don't have enough cleanup fish in your tank, Paradigm is very, very small and granular. So put it on this side, Dad, so it doesn't go into the overflow.
Okay.
If you don't have cleanup and you don't have fish small enough to eat the particles, you know, it's sort of a messy food. It's not, when my betta fish eat it, it's very common for them to actually take it and then wind up crushing it and spitting it out and then eating small particles. I have noticed that when you're trying to convert some of the fry over to eating a dry food, this is probably the best food to do that with, because the father or the adult fish that's actually with the fry will have no problem in crushing it up and spitting it out of its gills, and the particles are small enough that the fry can take.
Yeah, we used to feed the 40-gallon this because the rasboras would go crazy over this. This is our last rasbora besides the other one in the
It's our last brilliant rasbora, yeah. But this tank is basically set up for my bleeding heart tetras. These are the bleeding heart tetras I keep outside in the outdoor pond in the summer. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that they're going to go outside this year, because I think that we're going to move the giant gourami and all that crew outside, and I probably will just keep the bleeding hearts inside for the summer. But let's go through the fish room update like Nathan and I mentioned prior. So let's start on this side with some of the Una maculata complex of betta fish that we maintain. This is the newly imported fish that we just brought in about a little less than a week and a half ago.
Yep.
So in this tank we have one male Betta palafina montoy. I actually have two males, and I'm waiting on a female to come in from the collector and shipper. In this other tank I also have a species of Una maculata, and in this tank this is a very young pair.
And it's the male's somehow holding.
Yeah, the male's holding. He's barely 3.5 inches long. The female's barely 2.5, maybe 2 3/4 inches long, and they spawn for the very first time. And believe it or not, he's actually holding pretty well. And these fish came from a trusted source who bred them domestically in the United States. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, that's my favorite way of actually attaining these fish, is to get them from sources within the United States. Yes, it's a lot cheaper to do so, but when you reach out to someone who actually has been working with specific subspecies you're looking for, you always have a good chance of getting really, really good quality fish. And if there's ever anything wrong in regards to shipping or whether or not a fish makes it, it's a lot easier to deal with somebody domestically than dealing with somebody internationally and paying all the different shipping charges.
Hey Dad, turn around and show them the 75s.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't filled them up yet, but we will fill them up.
As a matter of fact, I think we're going to fill these tanks up this weekend. I want to get these tanks cycled and get the sponge filters running, because I plan on putting our grow outs. These tanks are actually going to become our grow out tanks. So one of these 75-gallon tanks is probably going to get this batch of Betta Antuta that are in here. And this is the 10-gallon tank I just recently set up about 4 days ago. We just moved the Betta Antuta into this. We moved every Antuta fry in the 10-gallon tank. They all seem to be doing really well. But these guys are growing fast. They're being fed twice a day.
They're huge.
Yep. I don't heat these tanks individually anymore. I just keep the room warm.
Yeah, our room is like... I'll check right now.
The room temperature, I think, is 77 degrees.
We're at, 78, 77.
So I have a dehumidifier that I use in the room.
It's pretty old.
That's on a timer. It's a little beat up, but it runs really well. And it also heats the room enough to keep the room at the right temperature. I let it run for about half a day, about 12 hours a day pretty much. And what it does is it keeps the humidity in the room less than 50%, but in the same context, it keeps the room warm enough to where I don't have to individually heat the tanks anymore. But getting back to the Antuta, like we discussed, those guys will eventually outgrow this 10-gallon tank, and they're going to go into one of these 75 gallons, and of which then we can start showcasing the actual sub-adults for sale. Moving right into the rest of the Betta Unimaculata. These are the Betta Unimaculata. These are the Wahoo. And this is the video this is the pair I just shot a while back with the pair actually spawning, but they didn't have any eggs at that moment. Well, they produced eggs within the day after that spawning on the video, or that, I should say, pre-spawning. And now the male is holding, and this will be a pretty good clutch. This is the male I had to strip and get the fry from, and I have full confidence that this go around, this will be a nice grouping of fry from him.
Oh yeah, speaking of the fry, we also thought that we only had 5 left. We actually have like 15, 20.
Yeah, it's probably about 15 or 20 of the Wahoo growing out in the 5.5 gallon tank. In the bottom tank here, we have the Unimaculata Milak, of which the male is holding in this tank also, and he is on the left-hand side, living inside the clay pot. And the female's on patrol. She's a little bit rough, so he spends a lot of time trying to avoid her. In the bottom tank, we have the female Betta Patoti. Her mate is inside a 5.5 gallon tank with his fry. He just recently started spinning them. They're not all out, so we're just keeping an eye on him. This is my #1 producing Antuta male. He's the smallest Antuta I own, actually. Every female he spawned with is about an inch to 3/4 of an inch longer than he is. But he's produced the majority of my fry. As a matter of fact, all the fry in that 10-gallon tank I showed you all came from him and one of the 6 or 7 females that we maintain in the 55-gallon tank.
It's usually the biggest one.
And as you can tell right now, he's got fry in his tank. This is his 3rd batch of fry. And I believe after this spawning, I'm probably going to give him a little bit of a break and let him just chill out. He's been pumping them out, and he's actually a very, very, very good father. I have learned a ton from him. He's the fish that taught me that you can actually have your adult convert the fry from eating microworms and live foods to dry foods. So he's the one who taught me, and that's my stud male right there. The 55-gallon tank, which is right off to the side here, is the 55-gallon tank that holds all the female Betta Antuta.
The beasts.
That one in the top right-hand corner, that's one of the females he spawned with. She's probably about 3/4 of an inch longer than he is. And there's one in there that's actually an inch longer. She's not even the biggest female in the tank. But this is the 55-gallon tank, all female Betta Antuta. Down below are some of the killifish, of which we're going to probably do a video a little bit more in depth with them, but this video is going to be a little bit quicker since I have a lot more room to cover. The Chinese Mountain Street recently just got a water change, and then some of the plants have got to be trimmed up. As you can tell, they're actually blasting outside of the tank.
Also, we have a female Betta Splendid right here and a male Rubra that broke his back. We're just putting him in there for now.
Yeah, we have a male Rubra in here that got beat up a little bit by the female months ago. And he does well, but he just really can't compete with the Rubra in the main tank. These are the 2-gallon jars, or I should say 1.5 gallon jars for the most part. And we have the Betta Splendens complex in these jars. And then down below are continuation of our Unimaculata fry, our Mahachiensis, and then some Betta chanoids males I'm actually rehabilitating.
Next is our Betta Rubra and Betta, I forgot their names.
Albi marginata.
Albis.
So the Albi marginatas are on the left-hand side. That tank needs a water change. You have the Betta Rubra.
They're beasts.
Just recently had a water change. Water's a little clearer.
And a little fry in there.
This is our new male Betta Antuta. That was actually a gift from our collector. He also has fry in his tank. He spit and actually spawned for us the first week we had him. His female is one of the females that are in the 55-gallon tank. And I currently have him with about, I don't really know exact count, but I probably would say it's over 30 of his fry. See if we can get a little close up without it being blurry. This is a new 10-gallon tank I put in there. This is going to be a holding tank for the smaller Antuta male. I'm actually going to keep him away from the females for the next couple months or so. I want to give him a break. I have a lot of fry from him, and it's time I get some fry from the newly imported male that I have.
Next is chanoids. One of our first bettas that we've ever owned. They're amazing. And
Yeah, you're not really going to be able to see them because they like it dark.
they're a little beat up because they fight a lot.
We have another one of the male Pelafina Montoy, and this is the 10-gallon tank. I have him in the water temperature in this tank is about 77 degrees, a little bit more tannin and a little less water flow. So I wanted to see how the two different environments, how they affect the same fish. So like I said, I have one male in a darker tank with less water flow and a little bit more warm temperature. And I have the other male in a clear tank, a little bit more water flow. Temperature's about 75 degrees, 2 degrees difference. I'm curious to see if any of those environmental changes have anything to do with maybe darker pigment coloration, or if it's just plain moods, if it has nothing to do with anything but just moods in regards to their color and pigment. Down below
Our Hendra.
are our Betta Hendra group.
Oh my god.
And these fry are getting closer and closer and closer to being ready to be sexed. And I wanted to give these guys a chance. As a matter of fact, I can sex most of these, not a problem. They've been getting fed 2 times a day, just like the Betta Antuta, same type of feeding. In the morning they'll get a frozen food, and then second feeding during the day will be the tubifex worms. In the little 2.5-gallon tanks on each side, they're just reserve tanks for more fry.
The Betta Hendra are one of our biggest Betta fries so far. They're amazing.
Yeah, well, no, the Antuta fry I would say are, but this is the first big clutch of Bettas we ever bred. Matter of fact, right? So we had like probably about 4 different spawnings.
Yeah, we usually never breed splendid type Bettas, but they breed automatically.
Well, they're not. Betta Hendra are nothing to do with Splendens, though. They're bubble nest builders, Nathan, but they're not. They have nothing to do with Splendens.
Really?
No, they're not. They're bubble nest builders, but they're not Splendens. They're in the Cochina complex. So you have Betta Forshi in this 20-gallon high. Recently, a friend of ours just lost his 2-year-old male, and these are his offspring. All 3 of these came from that male. Anderson Mercedes, trusted friend and trusted source in the Betta community, and these are his produced Forshi.
Yeah, the last pork chop rice bowl is awesome.
Down below, like we mentioned before, is our 33 long with our mixture of bleeding heart tetras, my Cory cats, a couple of my Phantom plecos are in there also. Some pretty big boss banjo cats. Some of our chubby Corys.
Yeah, they're the most hidden ones. They hide a lot. So, paradise fish.
Yep, spade tail paradise fish.
There's
Or they call them spike tail paradise fish.
Spiky.
My bleeding heart tetras, which I absolutely adore. I love them.
Oh, geez.
one of my phantom plecos. There's two phantom plecos in here. Oh, there, right there is one of my large banjo cat. And the different corridors from Aeneas to peppercorns and so on. I love fish, so I mean I could never get enough. And as you can tell, Nathan and I have really put a lot of work, a lot of time into our room. This is my Betta spawning tank. My original pairs in this.
Yeah, yeah, they are the continuous breeding. They keep breeding, and we have a lot of Hendra fry.
Yep. So recently, these guys spawned again. Actually, there's the female right there in the background. They've been spending a lot of time out lately. A lot of time. I mean, they used to be so shy. I don't know if he's driving her out, or they're just so relaxed that they're just spending more time out. But this is my favorite bubble nest building betta fish. I know I said the same thing about Mahachiensis. I do love them. They're pretty cool. But what I don't dig about them is the fact that they're not social. And the Mahachiensis I have are in the Splendens family, unlike the Betta Hendra, which are in the Cochina complex. Betta Hendra are very social fish. The pairs can be kept together. They're not overly aggressive to one another. And for the most part, very prolific. Once again, the Betta Antuta.
Yep, we showed those already.
And
my favorite tank, the South American Paludarium.
Yeah, this is the South American Paludarium. And I actually took the Java moss out that was in the center. And I'm trying to encourage the grass to grow on the right hand side and cover some of the back.
Yeah, we have cardinals in here. We have black neons and Von Rios. Surprised I remembered their names, because I always forget the Von Rio. And then below we have some neons. We'll show you those in a second. Yeah, we have neons in there and one black neon. When he was fry, he fell down the filter and he landed in here, and he got so big that we're gonna have to take him out soon.
There he is right there. Yeah, he actually was part of
This tank.
a spawning that happened in this tank, and
He was the only survivor.
I mean, the tetras lay hundreds of eggs. So that out of hundreds of eggs, he not only made it, but he passed. This is a funny story, man, right, Nate?
Yeah,
he passed through the overflow
down there
into the other tank, which acts as a sump, just a second portion to increase the water mass of the paludarium, and has grown. And not only that, but man, he blew up so fast. The only problem is Nathan and I
can't catch him.
I mean, without destroying the tank, he's so impossible to catch that. Yeah, I got him down there. I guess if we put him up top with the rest of the black neons in there, I probably wouldn't be able to tell which one was the one that was born in the system. So I kind of leave him down there with the neon tetras, so I know exactly who he is. Yeah. Nathan mentioned the cardinals. These are the wild caught cardinal tetras I bought a while back. I started with 12 of them, and I'm down to about 6.
Yeah, some of them got ick, and that was the problem.
Yeah, wild caught fish don't always handle acclimation and captivity that easy. And in a tank this small, because believe it or not, the total water volume in this tank is probably less than 15 gallons of water. It's based on a 20-gallon long with about a quarter of the height chopped off. It's a custom-made tank. So is the bottom one.
I love these tanks. They're perfect size.
They don't really hold more than, if I had my guess, and if you were want to put a number on it, I would tell you that these tanks probably hold 13 gallons of water with everything that's in it. The paludarium itself this particular paludarium is the second one we built. Chinese Mountain Stream is the first one.
That's the original.
But this one
came out better.
Is second go around. It's it benefited from everything that we learned from the first one, and this tank has turned out to be amazing. This video is long, 25 minutes. All right, guys, listen, thank you very much. Sorry for the long video. You can always fast forward what you don't want to hear and want to see. Ron and Nate for FunctionBuilt-Aquatics. Sign off, dude.
See ya.
Bye, guys.